everybody. Welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. My name's Michelle from Craftie, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a card using the Polar Opposites stamp set from My Favorite Things. I love this. You can see this cute little guy over here has got a Christmas sweater on, so you could use this definitely for a holiday card, but today I'm going to do just more of a winter scene that doesn't necessarily have to be focused toward the holidays, but you do have that option if you want to do that as well. I'm also going to be using the Sweet Snowflakes die set from My Favorite Things. I love die cutting probably much more than stamping, and I just really wanted to incorporate some dies, just some snowflakes into the background. I've already got those cut out of some white glitter paper, and I think that's really going to be cute on my background. I've got an A2 card base here, top folding, and a couple of papers. I'm just going to use patterned paper for my background from the Winter Market paper pad by Cardabella. And I just love these soft wintry colors. And I had a little bit of trouble deciding. I really like this one here. It's sort of a greenish blue with sort of the snowy spots. I thought that would be a good sort of dull winter sky background. And I was trying to decide between that and this black with the snowflakes for a nighttime sky. So I couldn't decide. I decided to go with both. Usually when I can't decide, that's what I do. I figure out a way to put them both in there. So I cut the black snowflake background to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to completely cover the front of my card base. And then I cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. So I've still got that sort of wintry daytime sky with the nighttime border around it. And I think that's going to be really cute. So for my Polar Opposites winter friends, I chose this little penguin here and the polar bear. I thought they were kind of facing each other, and that's a cute little scene that I thought would be great on my card. So I've got those two placed into my MISTI on a piece of white cardstock cut to 3 3/4 by 5, just the same size of my inner background panel there, and I'll show you guys why in just a moment. We're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting when this is done, but not a lot because of the way I've placed them here. And I think that's a good placement. They're kind of looking toward each other there, playing in what's going to become a wintry landscape. And then I've got my sentiment here on the other side, so I can flip that around when I'm ready to stamp the sentiment. And I'm using the I love you even though we're polar opposites. So let's go ahead and get to stamping that. Make sure that's all the way in the corner of my MISTI in case I need to restamp. And I'm using the Memento Tuxedo black ink. There will be links in the description below for everything that I'm using. You can get over on the ScrapbookPal website. Make sure I've got a good solid impression. And I think that looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and flip that around and stamp my sentiment. That way I can get all of my stamping done and over with and set my MISTI aside. And I decided to stamp my sentiment in Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink because that's going to kind of go along with some of the colors I've chosen to color in my images here. So now we can get to coloring these cute little guys here. I want to start out with a little bit of shading on the white bear and on the white parts of the penguin, so I can get that over with and I'm not pushing into some of the more colorful ink when I do their scarves. And I'm just going to use T2, the toner gray, to create a little bit of shading, and then I'll blend it out with my colorless blender. Kind of look a little bit gray all over right now, but they are still wet from the colorless blender, and that'll kind of even out. So I decided to color the scarf on the penguin in purple and turquoise. And I don't have a lot of purples, but I wanted 2 different shades of purple in there. So I'm going to show you guys how to get a little more mileage out of your Copic markers. I'm going to use V15 for my lighter purple. I'm just going to color that in completely. And then I'm going to color in the one next to it completely with the V15 as well. Skip one and then do that again. And now to get 2 different purples out of that, we're going to take our colorless blender in one and use it to move some of that away as a highlight. And I didn't mean to do that on the second one. I want to leave it a little darker. So that's how we're going to get a light and a dark out of that. So on the first of the 2 purple blocks, I'm going to move and make it a little lighter in the highlight. And then in the second of the 2 purples, I'm going to come in with V09 and make a little bit of a shadow color. So that really becomes like a darker purple. And on those, we come back in with the V15 and blend it out just a little. And for my turquoise squares, I'm using BG32 for my light color and BG57 for my dark. So I just come in and completely fill with my lighter color. Come back and shade with the darker and blend again with the lighter. And I'm going to color his beak and his feet in with YR68. And again, orange is a color that I'm limited on. I really only have the one vibrant orange color. So I'm just going to shade with a warm gray. Just bring that in underneath. And I don't think we need to on his beak. And just blend that back out again with the orange. And you get a little bit of shading. That's another trick to get more mileage out of your Copic markers. If you don't have a lot of different shades of your colors, you can always shadow with a gray. And I decided I wanted my polar bear to be wearing a scarf that's green and gray. Again, we're going to use that same warm gray and then a darker shade of that. So again, we're getting a lot of mileage out of our colors. These are pretty close in color saturation, so you really don't have to do much blending if you wanted to just shadow with your W5 without coming back in to blend. You could probably get away with that very easily. Same thing with my green tones. I'm going to use the G03 as my lighter color and the G05 as my darker. So I'll go ahead and color this one that way to show you guys if you don't come back in again with a lighter color to blend and how that will look. So then we just come in with our G05 in some shade areas. And you can see those are close enough together that that works just fine if I stop right there and don't do any more blending. And that same W5 I'm going to use for my polar bear's nose. Or you could use a black if you wanted to, but I thought I would really show you guys what you can do with a limited amount of markers here, and that gray works just fine for his nose. Okay, that is pretty much it. That's got our characters colored in. So I'm just going to take my BG10 and create a little bit of a landscape of snow. Bit of shadow. That's going to help blend away any little mistakes we've made and any little bleed overs. I had a little bit of that gray coming out the edges there. And I'm just going to blend that on out with a little bit of shadow, and no one will ever know. So I'm going to blend that out with the colorless blender, just to smooth out that shadow area, lighten it up a little bit. And you can smooth out your horizon lines if you want to do that. Depends on how bold you want those to be. So now with that, what I want to do in order to get this on my background, I'm going to fussy cut so that I've got my characters here and the snowy landscape below them. And that way I'll only have to cut out around the top edge. Personally, I don't care much for the white border that's left by the coordinating dies. So I'm just going to take my scissors and fussy cut right up to that black stamped edge. But if you don't mind the look of that white border, you can definitely get the coordinating die set. So I'm going to go ahead and put my white glitter snowflakes that I die cut out using my Sweet Snowflakes Die-namics set. And one more up in the corner. Now we can assemble our card. I'm going to take my top fold-in card base and just put some art glitter glue on there. And my other background piece in the center of that. And for my Copic colored piece. And if you wanted a little bit more dimension, you could definitely pop this up on foam tape. And just for one final touch, I'm going to take some Nuvo glitter drops in White Blizzard and just sort of outline the edge of the snow. I hope you guys can see that glitter detail on screen. It really makes a nice difference in person. It just adds that little extra detail. So that's it for my card for today. Very quick and simple, and I think it's a nice little card that you can send for any occasion in the wintertime. If you're not subscribed to the ScrapbookPal channel, be sure to subscribe and check the description below for all of the supplies that I used today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.